London, 2025. A long-lost Egyptian artifact is unveiled at the British Museum. But what if I told you that this grand exhibit hides a chilling mystery of one that echoes a real unsolved case from nearly a century ago? Welcome to History Unsolved, where we dig into the past to uncover the secrets history tried to bury. In the world of historical fiction, a new book has captured everyone's imagination. It's called Deadly Curse by Carla Simpson, and it kicks off with a scene that's both thrilling and terrifying. Picture this: the grand unveiling of a newly discovered Egyptian sarcophagus at the British Museum. The lights are low, the crowd is buzzing with anticipation, and then a scream. A body is found right there in the exhibit hall, a modern-day victim amidst ancient relics. The novel is brilliant. It weaves together a fictional detective story with the very real, very eerie history of the British Museum. Simpson pulls from old rumors, whispers of cursed artifacts, and the shadowy history of how many of these treasures were acquired in the first place. The story feels so real. It's almost like you're walking through the museum's halls yourself, feeling a chill run down your spine as you pass the towering statues of pharaohs. The book has become a massive bestseller, reigniting public fascination with ancient Egypt and its supposed curses. People are flocking to the museum, looking at the exhibits with new, suspicious eyes. But what if this fictional murder wasn't so far from the truth? What if the book's chilling plot is just scratching the surface of a real, century-old mystery that the museum would rather we forget? To understand, we have to travel back in time, not just to ancient Egypt, but to the early 20th century, when London was gripped by a frenzy known as Egyptomania. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 unleashed a wave of fascination, but it also brought stories of a deadly curse. And at the heart of many of these tales was the British Museum, and one of its most infamous residents, the unlucky mummy. It's not a mummy at all, but the painted coffin lid of an unknown woman. Yet, for over a century, it's been blamed for a string of misfortunes, from minor accidents to major disasters. The legend says it was owned by a group of young Englishmen in the 1860s, all of whom met untimely ends. One story, widely circulated by a journalist named Bertram Fletcher Robinson, claimed the lid was responsible for everything from car crashes to financial ruin. He even alleged that a photographer who took a picture of the coffin lid found that the developed image showed a terrifying, living human face. And then Robinson himself died suddenly in his 30s, adding another layer to the myth. The museum has always dismissed these stories as pure fantasy. They have a pamphlet dedicated to debunking the curse, explaining that the wild tales were largely fabricated by sensationalist journalists, but the legends persist, and the unlucky mummy isn't the only artifact with a dark reputation. Throughout the 1920s and 30s, newspapers were filled with reports of mysterious deaths linked to people who had excavated or handled Egyptian artifacts. There was Lord Carnarvon, the financial backer of the Tutankhamun expedition, who died from an infected mosquito bite just a few months after the tomb was opened. At the exact moment of his death, all the lights in Cairo supposedly went out. Back in England, his dog howled and dropped dead. Coincidence? Maybe. But then others connected to the dig also met strange fates. The British Museum, as the keeper of one of the world's largest collections of Egyptian artifacts, couldn't escape these rumors. Whispers began to circulate about a cover-up. A story, which is impossible to verify but refuses to die, tells of a night watchman found dead in the Egyptian gallery in the 1920s. The official cause was a heart attack, but the rumor mill claimed he was found with an expression of pure terror, his hand outstretched towards one of the display cases. Was he a victim of a curse? Or did he see something he wasn't supposed to? It's a story that perfectly mirrors the opening of the fictional Deadly Curse, and it makes you wonder just how much of that fiction is rooted in a forgotten reality. So what's really going on here? We're left with a tangle of theories, each more intriguing than the last. The first, and most dramatic, is that there was, in fact, a real death at the museum that was covered up. In the 1920s, an institution like the British Museum would have gone to great lengths to protect its reputation. A death linked to a cursed object would have caused a public panic and undermined the scientific authority the museum prided itself on. Could a quiet deal with the coroner and a few well-placed newspaper editors have buried the story forever? Without a body or a name, it remains pure speculation, a ghost story haunting the museum's corridors. A more scientific theory points to psychology. The idea of a curse is incredibly powerful. If you believe you're cursed, you might become hyper-aware of any negative event, attributing it to the curse. This is known as confirmation bias. Furthermore, the power of suggestion can have real physical effects on the body. A phenomenon called the nocebo effect, the opposite of a placebo. If someone who is deeply superstitious handled an artifact they believe to be cursed, their own anxiety and fear could potentially trigger a genuine health crisis, like a heart attack. So, the curse becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then there is the theory that has less to do with the supernatural and more to do with cold, hard justice, or the lack thereof. Many of the artifacts in the British Museum were acquired during the colonial era under questionable circumstances. Some were legally purchased, but many others were taken through force, unequal treaties, or outright theft. This theory suggests the curse isn't a magical hex, but a metaphor for the guilt and historical trauma associated with these objects. The mysterious deaths and misfortunes are seen by some as a kind of spiritual retribution, a cosmic balancing of the scales for the wrongs of the past. Are the spirits of the pharaohs angry? Or is this our modern conscience projecting a sense of unease onto these silent relics? Some say it's all superstition. Others believe the truth is still locked in the museum's vaults. From the fictional murder in Deadly Curse to the real-life mysteries of the unlucky mummy and the whispers of a century-old coven, the line between fact and fiction becomes incredibly blurred. We're left with chilling stories, psychological theories, and the undeniable fact that these ancient objects carry a weight far greater than their physical form. They carry the weight of history, of empire, and of the human imagination. So the next time you walk through a museum, look closely at the artifacts behind the glass and ask yourself, what stories aren't being told? Is the British Museum hiding more than just history? What do you believe? Was there a real murder, or is it all just a myth? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks for watching History Unsolved. Don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the secrets of the past.